What is going on, Gulf Coast Nation? Guys, welcome back to another episode. This week you'll be noticing we're not posting on Tuesday like normal, and it's because this is a complete bonus episode. We're going to be doing more of these in the future to bring you guys different content behind the scenes, not our normal shark fishing epic action stuff, but maybe some tips and tricks that'll be useful to you guys. This week we're going to talk about school Penn 130H. It'll be the same as the Penn 130s or the Penn 130 STs, but we're selling our Tiagra 80 wide. We're going to go with another Tiagra 80 wide, but this Tiagra the reel without the braid. So what we're going to do is we're going to down spool the Tiagra 80 wide that has about 1,200 yards of 200-pound braid. It's pretty full of 200-pound braid onto an empty Penn 130H that we have as kind of a backup reel there. And so this will give us a good opportunity to show you guys, and for anybody interested in the Tiagra 80 wide or the Penn 130, you know, the classic ones, not the Penn VSWs or the newer ones. It's the first gen or the second gen Penn 130s. People tend to claim that they have similar capacity as like Tiagra 80 wides or regular 80 wide reels. So let's put it to the test today. We're going to be down spooling our Tiagra 80 wide onto an empty Penn 130H. Let's check it out.
Fish on, fish on.
So as you can see, a little unorthodox here. I put the harness onto the couch and it's just holding it there. I've got a cinder block with a towel over the top to hold the line up through the roller. 200-pound braid, and we're gonna go to our pin here. Put a new top shot on the max here. We're about to get another max, but here's the pin here. What we're working with here, so we got an empty. I started a little bit. The Penn 130. This isn't the H. I'm sorry. This is just the Penn 130. It's the classic single speed. 1979 I think this model is. So we've got it completely down to the bare spool. Sometimes you can harness up and we put like a dowel through a spool of braid, but since we're down spooling it one reel to another, I prefer to do it this way. Let's see if we can get you guys to hang out a little better. Get you a good glove. We doubled up some old gloves here, and gonna line this braid on right. Unfortunately, we're stuck in single speed with this one, so we're gonna get to it. All right, FYI, we have the reel, the Tiagra over there set at about 25 pounds of drag. That's always a good tension to spool braid on because you want it tight, you want it packed on tight. If you pack braid on a shark reel loose, it's not a good idea. The braid's going to dig down into itself when you're fighting a shark. That will eventually cause the reel to lock up because the braid can no longer come off the spool while the drag goes. And there's a lot of bad scenarios to end up with a locked up shark reel. So pack your braid on tight. You can wet the braid on the other side. That'll help it pack on tight. As it dries, it'll pack on tighter. But make sure you're spooling under heavy. You want it under heavy tension. So let's keep going. All right, getting there a little bit. Spool's still pretty full there, but we're getting down. It was up here, so we're getting down in the spool there. Let's go check on the pin. The old pin's coming along good there. We've still got a bunch of room on here. The line's about to where it's gonna stop touching that front bar. That's something I don't like when you're deep in your spool. This line is rubbing the top of this bar, although the bar should be smooth and fine. Obviously not ideal to have your line rubbing, so I've been putting my glove up above it so it doesn't rub there, but she's coming along. Alrighty, here's the pin. After a little while longer, you can see the clearance is a lot better there over the bar to line now. So getting a little higher in the spool. Oh no, we're further than I thought. We're further than I thought. So we don't actually have that much left on the TIG. I caught a little bit of traction there and took off. So we might be closer to 750 yards on the pin then. Have about 300 yards left or so. Because it's not more than, the spool that I put on here was 1,000 meters. So it's like just shy of 1,100 yards of braid. So this is exactly 1,000 meters. So it's stacking up pretty nicely. We'll see what it looks like when the rest of this comes off onto the pin, and then we'll kind of compare them. So let's finish it up. Whoa! Whew. All right. Looks like that is it. We have some pretty interesting results here. I'm kind of surprised, not gonna lie. Well, here are the results. Now I know to most people, if you say, hey, I've got an 80 wide and a 130, obviously the 130 is gonna hold more line than the 80 wide does. But there's been a lot of talk the last few years about how the Penn 130s, the old school single speeds like this, are pretty similar in capacity to a TIG 80 wide and Ava 80 wide. But that's simply not true. So here is 1,000 meters of 200 hollow core. This, you know, we've got a good amount of room for top shot right there. I mean, that's more than probably we get 100, 125, 150 yards on there. Whereas over here, we got about 50 yards of top shot on our old Tiagra setup. So there you have it. Pretty much disproves right there that obviously the old school Penn 130s, they can put out 65 pounds of drag at strike. They're put about 77 pounds at full. And, you know, the Tiagra 80 wide can do the same, but you lose your free spool and stuff like that. But you have 2-speed over here, single speed over here. Obviously, we are always going to recommend you do a 2-speed reel, just because that's going to help you get the fish in quicker. Getting the fish in quicker helps the fish have a healthy and clean release. So, but for those inquiring minds, the Penn 130 old schools, like if you have a 130 ST, that's a 2-speed reel, same size as this, and it's going to hold more line than a Tiagra 80 wide. So there you go. We're going to slap a little bit of top shot on her. We're not going to fish her for long because we're waiting for our Mac 80 wide to come in. So once the Mac 80 wide comes back in, we're going to spool this braid off of here back onto the Macaira 80 wide. There you go. There you have it. Tiagra 80 wide does not hold as much line as the old school Penn 130s, even though some people believed so. So there you go, Mythbusters. But I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. I hope you guys got something out of it. Hopefully that helps a few people in their decision making. Even with that being said, that the Penn 130 holds more line than the Tiagra 80 wide, I would still recommend somebody get the Tiagra 80 wide over the Penn 130 for a few reasons. The 2-speed mechanism, smaller reels are easier to handle, and 1,000 yards of braid with the short top shot is plenty to handle giant hammers, giant tigers, big mako sharks, duskies, whatever you're targeting in your area, especially from the beach. Because if you set your presets right and you set your strike setting high at around 60 pounds of drag, you're still going to get that fish in quick. And, you know, be honest with you, if you need more than 1,500 yards or you need more than 1,000 yards to land a fish, and it takes you all the way down to the spool by the time you reel all that line back in, you're going to have a dead shark. Remember, guys, long fight times equal dead sharks. So get them in quick. We like to try under 30 minutes. Most of our fight times are between 5 and 15, depending on how far we drop our baits. But if the fight goes over an hour, we just end up cutting our line. We don't want to hurt the sharks. We are out there to tag for Noah. We run shark fishing charters in our area, GulfCoastNation.com. So we're out to show people a great time, show them our great fishery, help out with shark research in the meantime, while creating memories that last a lifetime. So if you guys enjoyed this week's episode, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, drop a comment below, share it with your friends, and as always, we'll catch you guys next week. Yoo!